Starting.
This hangout on air is live.
So we're live, Alan.
We're live. Welcome to another edition of the Metal Voice Live here in the big Metal Voice studio. Jimmy, what you going to start right away? What are you going to start with? Listen, guys, first of all, let's try to break a record today. Hold
on a sec. Let me just get rid of the volume on the other
feedback.
Here. All right, there we go.
We got to break a record. We got all-time high of what? 30 people tuning in.
30
live.
Registered. 30 registered.
Let's hit
There's
31.
people who don't register. People don't even have YouTube accounts. This is just 30.
Let's hit
We're
31 today.
31.
Let's hit. The goal is to beat 30 today. And we're live.
Right. We're live. We're live.
Start with the news. Go ahead, Jim. Start the news.
Well, you know what? We're going to also have Brody. He's a young man.
Brody, where are you?
He's a
Brody.
Brody, I sent you the link, by the way. He's a young interviewer. He's a young reviewer.
All points bulletin on Brody.
He's a young reviewer who's been sort of like, back and forth for years, and he's a great reviewer. He's young. He's the next generation, right? So when you and me, when we're done, Brody's marching on, take hold of the flame. Is that it? Take hold of the flame? Take hold of the flame.
Defender of the faith.
This is what we're going to talk about today. Hardwired.
Wait.
Just
Jim,
as an intro.
Jim, look, Jim, look what I picked up this week too.
Okay, so this is a
triple version like you.
Triple version. I got mine at Walmart.
Prove everybody that
I got mine at Walmart.
Newberry Comics. Hats off to you.
Walmart.
Okay,
Walmart. This cost me Canadian $15.
Just want to let you know where we support the artists.
Yep. We go out and buy stuff.
A lot of confusion. Oh, did you get the review? Well,
we get a lot of free stuff.
Review.
Get a lot of free stuff.
We bought it.
But
we're supporting Metallica on Hardwired.
Right. The big question today: should Metallica's new album be included on the top 10 list of 2016? That's the metal albums.
Coming down to the end of the year, Jim.
Yes.
Is it going to slide in there at the end of November, mid to end November?
Metallica.
Is it going to be able to make the top 10 list? Great year. 2016 was a very exciting year. We'll get into that very, very soon in an upcoming episode, the ever famous 2016 top 10 metal voice albums of the year. Jim, the anticipation for that, it's unbelievable. We get hundreds and hundreds of millions of phone calls. Guys, what's it going to be? Is this one going to make the cut? Last minute edition, perhaps. Who knows?
So we're going to start off with the news.
And
the reason why we're starting off the news is just because people are logging in slowly.
We got 15 viewers.
We're logging in slowly.
16.
So just do a quick little rundown of the news. All right. So watch this. I got a whole presentation going, Alan. You ready with this?
You should do conferences.
All right. Here we go. Okay. So this is what we're starting with.
We
are starting with the news.
You heard anything from Brody? How's Brody doing?
Brody, where are you, Brody? Brody.
There we go.
Brody's on over.
One of your favorite bands, Jim. One of your big bands here from Germany.
A new song, a new video by Kreator, Gods of Violence. So it's going to be a trilogy.
It's a ballad.
Gods of Violence is the title track of Kreator's 14th album. To be released January 27th. That was from Blabbermouth. Now, did everybody like the song? Did everybody hate the song? I don't know. Let's just take a look at some comments here. Mustafa, good morning, guys. Good morning. Y&T brother.
Hey, yes, sir.
Y&T brother.
Dave Menichetti and the boys.
I know they shouldn't, but we're not there yet. We're still on the news. Did everybody like Gods of Violence? I thought it was an extension of their last album. I mean, it kind of sounds like where Kreator is today. I can't remember what the last album was called. Somebody remind me. Yeah, it sounds like, I know you didn't hear it yet, Alan, but it's great. Let's move on to the next bit of news.
Oh, what's this?
Metallica.
Who are these guys? What are they called? Who are these four gentlemen?
Is the most streamed heavy metal band in the world.
Unbelievable.
According to Spotify, the world's biggest and most popular streaming platform, Metallica has 7 million listeners a month.
It's unbelievable.
And the most popular song is Enter Sandman, which has been streamed over 108 million times. Could you imagine how much money that was?
Jim, do you remember back in '83?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
They're the guys.
These are the guys. -1 there, but unbelievable. To see, we were there at the beginning, the first album, to think that they made it to this point says everything about Metallica that you want to know.
So there you go, Spotify.
Hats off, guys. Hats off.
And that is the new radio. It's Spotify streaming service. And the
there we
last bit of
Good
news
to know.
here.
Good to know.
This is a funny piece. This is the humorous piece of news there, Alan.
Yeah.
Former Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil first was invited to perform at Donald Trump's inauguration.
Oh, is he going to play?
And then he was uninvited. They go, oh, it's not the whole band? Set him back. And all right. So, according to The Guardian, reported that former Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil and his band was slated to play at Donald Trump's.
Well, what song was he going to play? Like, I mean,
a Motley Crue song, I guess. I don't know. Beats me. So there we go. There we have it. That's the news. And Alan,
yes, Jim. Now you're talking.
All right. So Alan's
going
to talk a little bit about
another proof that we support the artist. There you go.
We get a lot of.
There you go.
We get a lot of promotional material.
Went and bought that.
We also unbelievable. Buy a lot of stuff.
Jim. Anyway, talk about late minute, quickly. Last minute additions to the top 10 list for the 2016. There you go. Might be another surprise.
Yeah.
Unbelievable album, guys. You want to talk about 6 a.m. Anytime, write in your comments. These guys are unbelievable. I love this album. I love everything they do. There's no more rules for Nikki Sixx. No more constraints with what he has to do with Motley Crue. Not taking anything from Vince Neil or Mick Mars, but I'm going to, because these guys are artists. James Michael, DJ Ashba, unbelievable talent. When you put three talented individuals together, this is what you get is 6 a.m. No rules, Jim. Put on gospel choirs, do ballads, do hardcore, do something with a little funky dance.
Show the album, Alan. Show the album.
It's unbelievable. What's right there? 6 a.m. It's on the screen.
No, they're not
saying it. 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
And this is, of course, volumes. Again, Jim, hey, what are we, back in the 70s where you had to release 3 albums in a year and a half? That's what they did.
Yep.
Prayers for the Blessed, Volume 2. You had Prayers for the Damned earlier this year.
Yep.
You had Modern Vintage not too long before that. Hey, nobody does this anymore except these guys. Who's coming out with 3 albums in a year and a half? It's unbelievable. And the quality. Anyways, we'll get into that. Who knows? It might make the top 10 list.
Next week, we're starting the filming. It's going to be a two-parter. It's going to be a two-parter.
Too many good albums.
Too many great albums. We're going to make it a two-parter.
We're going to try this.
Part 1, part 2.
A true top 10 list. Not 5 and 5. 10 and 10. And we'll see where we go from there. Tune in. The anticipation.
It won't be live, though. It's not going to be live. It's gonna be filmed. Unless we decide to do it live, we got to put our touches
no rules. We don't have any rules.
We
make them up as we go.
All the rules. Okay.
So now we're gonna get to it. Are you getting to it? Or you want to talk about it? I mean,
how do you want to work this? Around. I don't know where
Brody.
All right, so here we go.
Brody's hungover.
Let's take a look here. This is what we're talking about today.
There we go. Hardwired.
This is what we're talking about.
Self-Destruct.
All right, I have another picture here somewhere. I can't find it.
Jump in the fire.
So, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And here is the topic today. All right, and here's the track list for everybody to see. I feel like I'm at work, Alan.
There you go.
It's like a PowerPoint, right?
And we got somebody who saw Metallica with Raven in '83.
Yeah.
There you go. You were there too. You know what we're talking about when we talk about Kill 'Em All.
All right, so here's the question.
Should
Metallica, the new album Hardwired to Self-Destruct, should it make the top 10 list of 2016? And I'm going to let Alan start here. So
let me start.
I'm going to let you start. What do you think?
Completely unprepared.
Completely unprepared. What do you think? Should this be on
Jim,
top?
We reviewed it a week ago.
Yeah.
The comments are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Our highest rated show, I think, ever.
Yeah.
Some of these comments are right on the mark. It's exactly what you and I found as well. If they made one album, it would have been unrivaled. Maybe even better than the Black Album. You know what I mean? I just want to clarify one comment I made last week. When I said the music for Megadeth is not that strong, what I meant to say is, and I'm just going to clarify it, if you take Metallica's top 10 songs and you put Megadeth's top 10 songs, I think Metallica wins the battle. Saying that, I think Megadeth has been much more interesting to listen to, and especially lyrically, over the last couple of years, and they've been much more proficient, and they've released a lot more albums. Yeah. I just want to clarify that. I had not denigrating
the
either
comments
band.
Were just like coming out at you, right? They claws out on that, right?
But I'm saying when it comes to this particular album, it's like we said, they could have made
what? Before we even get to that, Alan, tell us about your meeting with Cliff Burton.
Well, back in the Ride the Lightning tour, we found out they were at our local record shop.
Ride the Lightning.
Local record shop, they were going to be signing albums. So this is the middle of February. They were playing a club date.
Yes.
So we decided to go down, left high school, went down, stood in line, froze. I can remember it's literally the coldest I've ever been in my life, waiting for them. And of course, they're at the hotel drinking. Their well-deserved Alcoholica name was in full throttle. Mm-hmm. They finally showed up. We were freezing. People couldn't understand why there's like 200 people freezing in line. We finally get in. Two things. Remember the back of the Kill 'Em All album? There's somebody there. It is right there. So somebody shows up, the guy in front of me to have things signed. He shows up with this. James looks at this and says, he has his black marker that he's signing his name. Mm-hmm. He says, I never liked this photo. And he literally blacks in with a black marker that entire photo. The look on the guy's face that had the album and asking it aside was priceless. He was speechless. He could not, plus he probably didn't speak any English. But here, James covers this all in and hands it back to the guy. That was his dedication. That was his signature that day. These guys were handing out beer. They were drinking. You want to sip? We were frozen. These guys were nice and toasty warm. Just to say, one of the prized possessions of my collection. Here it is. I didn't bring the album cover down. Like I said, we were leaving right out of school. But there you got everybody signing, including Cliff Burton, Lars Ulrich. They're all there, all their signature. Cliff just sat there like this, with his hair, got his beer, signed, never said next. Like a true deadhead. They're completely out of it. But there you go. There's a proof. Pride possession right there, getting everybody to sign. This is the Ride the Lightning on Bonsai Records.
Bonsai.
You know, before they sign with the major label. It's all there. Joe, that's my little story. Is we froze while Metallica drank.
Look at here. Okay, let's just go to some comments. We're gonna get to the topic.
We're gonna get to the comments.
Franco saw Metallica open for Twisted Sister at the Fountain Casino in New Jersey.
Oh my gosh.
Trenton, I like Kreator new song Gods of Violence, and I thought it was a killer song. So did I, by the way. I didn't mention that. And Yuri says, yep. I guess it should make the top 10. Anyone seen the video for Murder One? Pretty cool Lemmy tribute. That's for the new album Metallica. Hey, Alan and Jimmy from Ren. I'm assuming it's Ren for
that's
short for something else.
Hey,
man, what's going on, man? So now I want you to speak to this, Alan. I want you to speak to this album. Should this album be included in our, and I'm sitting on the fence with this, and I need your feedback, I need Alan's feedback, and I need Brody's feedback, but apparently we're not getting Brody's feedback. So here's that's what it looks like. Everybody's yelling and screaming. Should this album make the top 10 2016 list?
And why? Again, guys, and why? I haven't bought a Metallica album since this one. I bought this album. The last Metallica album I bought was Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
That's how much I believe in this album. This is how much I was impressed with this album.
Yep.
Like I said last week, no idea what to expect from Metallica anymore. Pleasant surprise. Lots of stuff that sounds like it could have been on Kill 'Em All. Lots of stuff with the new twist. The solos, I think the solos are much more mature. Kirk Hammett he should do this more often. He play with a lot more feeling and expression. On this album, I think it comes through a lot more. But 2016 is a big year, man. Lots of good albums out there. We'll have to wait and see. I think a lot of our comments agreed with what we said, Jim, what we read. If they would have made one album, like for myself, Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1 or 2, they could have made a killer album instead of putting 2 albums out there with a lot of filler. This could have been that.
Alan, I asked you this question. Is this the Black Album better than this album?
Jimmy,
come on.
Again,
there's got to be an answer here, Alan.
I would have to say by the numbers that we saw on Spotify, I have to say Black Albums would be considered better.
Oh, well, is it a commercial
The hits are
success?
bigger. It's a bigger hit.
Okay. So
Jim,
here's my logic. So I'm going to throw this out to everybody, all right? So upon my first listen or few listens, I said to myself, man, like you just said, like we said, we've been talking about this. The first CD, the first side, or we'll call it the first CD, it kicks ass.
Well, every song.
If they would have released that by itself, just like that, and maybe included, a few other tracks, that would have been like almost a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. It's the production. right off the bat. You agree with the production is stellar.
Yep.
The production, you could hear the drums, you could hear the bass.
Drums are crazy. What's Lars on speed?
And everybody keeps insulting Lars. I have absolutely no idea why people are insulting Lars. The guy can play drums.
First couple albums, timing was a major issue, but you have to admit, 30 years later, he probably improved, right, guys? So this album proves it. So
okay, so now again, if we take disc 1, which is right here.
Hey, disc 2 is growing on me.
Disc 1 is right here. If we take disc 1, yes, disc 1 is a solid album. And I did a little math, and I want to share my math with everybody. So, everybody ready for the PowerPoint? Everybody ready for the
statistics
PowerPoint? Here comes my statistics.
This is it. To prove his point.
All right, let's take a look at this, everybody. All right, so Metallica Hardwired with Lord of Summer. If we just take the best tracks, let's say about 7 or 8 tracks, we have 51 minutes of solid music, and that's minusing the 4 shitty songs, right? If you take the Black Album, and if you take the Black Album, it's got 62 minutes, but it's not all good. There are some loser tracks.
I don't know, Jim. Hey,
if you take Kill 'Em All,
heresy.
If you take Kill 'Em All, it's got 51 minutes. Ride the Lightning, 47. Master. Okay, so we've compared Metallica, but wait, let's look at other bands as well. Let's look at Anthrax. Let's look at Metal Church. Bottom line is, people. Bottom line is. 51 solid minutes of music. So what I've done, Alan, is created my own deluxe album.
Oh,
I've created my own deluxe.
This is what you would have put out.
This is the Jimmy Deluxe Edition. Everybody ready for this?
To make this a 10 out of 10 is what you're saying.
This is the Jimmy Deluxe Hardwired Edition, which is a Hardwired, Atlas, Now That We're Dead, Moth into Flame, Dream No More, Halo on Fire, Confusion, which I kind of questioned, Spit Out the Bone, and Lords of Summer. This in other words, Metallica, if we just take the minutes of great music, maybe this should be in the top 10 list. Because it's got enough music as any other of their album that is solid. I mean, let's just minus all the bad songs. And which would be the bad songs, Alan?
Like I find the second CD is a little weaker than the first. I mean, I'm not going to pick out there's some. Here we can comment. Well, here's a comment from Trenton. ManUnkind is an awesome song. And other ones say, what else we got here? Double album, 1 great disc, and 1 bonus disc. Cool. Okay. What else we have? Dream No More, Now That We're Dead, ManUnkind, Here Comes Revenge, Am I Savage, Murder One are very similar. Samey Riffs Instructor. There. So there's a few. It's about the best album you can get out of comfortable rich guys. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, like, look.
Ram.
Okay, let me throw this out to everybody. There is a reason why these guys do stadiums.
You can't equate the number of minutes on an album to what the quality is. I mean,
they haven't
Paranoid has 8 songs. It's a great album, classic album.
Well, I mean, on this album, and let me bring it out again. There is enough music that is quality compared to.
How many songs are on Death Magnetic?
There's 12 songs. Oh, sorry, Death Magnetic. There's a lot less of great. We'll call it the greater songs. I'm humming these songs. I'm humming Hardwired, Atlas, Now That We're Dead, Dream No More, Halo, Confusion, Spit Out the Bone, and Lords of Summer. I'm humming. I'm like driving to work, and I can't get enough of the great songs in this album. So that must say something.
Hardwired,
that must say something.
Hardwired, to start the album with that, like it brings me right back to like. Was it Battery that started off? I mean,
Battery, Hit the Lights. I mean, just that sort of.
That's the way to start an album.
And Atlas, so catchy, so melodic.
Yeah, great album.
And there's just that little rhythm section right on the right before the chorus. Now That We're Dead, it's got that groove. Black Sabbath, killer. And Halo on Fire. Everybody has agreed that Halo on Fire is probably one of the best songs. And Spit Out the Bone. Can we all not agree that's probably one of the best songs? So if you just take those 9 amazing tracks, is that enough music to hit the top 10 metal albums of 2016? I think it is.
But they released a double album.
That's the problem.
Oh, that's for you. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Well, not for me.
No, for me. Yeah,
that's why
Alan,
I'm sitting on the fence here, Alan. I'm sitting on the fence.
Time will tell, guys.
Only time I don't know if it should go here or there. I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence. I don't know. All right, so here we go. Mustafa. He's saying, if more songs were as strong as Spit Out the Bone, this could have been a real winner. But there's 50 minutes of great music, Mustafa. 50 minutes. That's
I
just as much as Ride the Lightning. There's just
as
much as Ride the Lightning, which was 50 minutes. Kill 'Em All, which was about 50 minutes. And, you know, even Anthrax's new album, which you may or may not like, or Sodom's new album, it's 50 minutes.
I see where you're going with
so
this.
So my point is...
I'm a little slow. I'm a little tired, Jim. But, yeah, I see where you're going with this. So you're saying forget about everything. Concentrate on the same amount of minutes as any other album.
Exactly.
And it beats them because it's got quality on those. The fluff is like a bonus. If you like it, you don't like it, that doesn't matter. Concentrate on the strength of what would normally be a one album.
And let me bring it back.
That's what you're saying.
Let me bring it back to you. Here we are. See this? Now,
Jim,
let's take a look at Metal Church.
You're more scientific about this approach. I'm more emotional.
Look at this. So Metal Church, 47 minutes of quality music. Or some would even argue maybe it's not. Maybe it's 40 minutes. But Metallica Hardwired with Lord of Summer is 51 minutes of great music. So maybe that alone qualifies.
Wow, man, you got a lot of time.
I'm very scientific.
This is very.
I take out the calculators.
Yeah,
you know.
See what you're saying.
All right. So, which brings us.
What are the comments? Hardwired is good. Yeah.
If more songs, no, we already said that. ManUNkind is an awesome song. You know what? Maybe the real allure to this album is it's got something for all Metallica fans, right? In other words, it's got the thrashy songs, it's got the groove songs, the doom songs.
There you go, Jim. That's well put. It's got a little bit of, and that's what I said
allure.
last week is what can we expect from Metallica album? Do you want just thrash? I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I don't think that would be interesting. So yeah, it's very well put, Jim. I agree with you. It's fun to have something, a little bit of something for everyone. They didn't do a ballad. So that's okay too, because we didn't really expect that. But there's some maybe a little bit more acoustic guitar. I don't know, Jim. That's the acoustic guitar. That's another thing. Go back to Ride the Lightning and Master Puppets. A lot of intros started that way. It was great. It was something different. Now it's just more all thrash, but it's a great album. I think that's a great point, Jim. That's well said. There's a little bit of for everyone.
Allure. Okay, so let's move on to this. Now I know people will get all crazy about this. Metallica's, and I'm just going to throw this out to everybody. Metallica's top 10 albums. Just so we could see where this fits. This new album fits in the whole spectrum of Metallica. All right, so ready for the PowerPoint? Here we go.
You're going number one, really?
Well, you know what? Maybe I'll just do like this. Hold on.
You're going to go back? Okay, that's probably best.
Okay, here we go.
And you didn't put Lulu, I'm imagining. Can we just forget Lulu?
We forgot about Lulu.
Okay, no, but let's just forget about that.
So number 2. Number 10 would be Saint Anger. Does everybody agree with that? Does everybody agree with number 10 would be Saint Anger? As if you take the top 10 albums from Metallica, number 10 would be Saint Anger.
It's stark.
You got the tin can drums. I mean, is there even bass there? I don't know what's going on. All right, so let's go to number 9.
I hope there's bass. That's why they got Robert Trujillo.
Let's go to number 9.
Number 9, what do you got happen number 9?
Number 9, we are talking, hey, Reload. Okay. Reload. I mean, Load was bad enough, but then we got Reload, which was like revisited, not so much. All right, so.
This what makes Metallica interesting because people hate these albums. People hate these albums with a passion. Other ones love them with a passion.
I want you to guess what's after Reload.
Well, I think you just hinted to it.
Ready, folks? Here we go.
This is Jimmy's list.
Load.
Okay.
So we got Load, Reload, and Saint Anger.
Okay. We're working our way up to number 1 here, but you kind of spoiled the punch. But for those tuning in late, how many viewers? Did we beat the record yet, Jim?
We're getting there. It's all good, man. I don't care if one person's watching this hour.
We got 25 guys, 6 more to go. We beat a record.
More.
We just need 6 more.
All right, here we go. All right. So here we go. We're going to number 7. And this is what I think. So we had Saint Anger, Reload, Load, and what did I pick here? Ready for this? Here we go. Death Magnetic.
Okay.
I'm going to show everybody Death Magnetic.
Yeah, you got it. You click
I'm going to show everybody Death Magnetic.
Yeah, click off.
Death Magnetic. Here we are. Here's the coffin. I mean,
everybody was excited when this came out too. Oh, they're back to the old sound. This is great.
Back. And
do the songs hold up? Do the songs hold up today on this album? Remember everybody's reaction when it came out? Finally, the old sounding Metallica. This is what we've been waiting for. Unforgiven 2's on this, if I remember correctly. I saw this tour, went to see them live.
The Unforgiven
3, sorry. Hey, does these songs still hold up today? That's the question.
All right, so here we go, guys.
Maybe that's why it came in at number 7.
All right, so here we go. Let's keep going down Jimmy's top 10 list.
Jimmy's top 10 list.
And we're gonna go to number 6. Okay.
Oh my God.
A lot of people might get mad at me for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit. Wrong one. We just shared the wrong screen. All right, there we go. The Black Album as number 6.
Number 6.
And people are probably saying, why on earth would I pick the Black Album as number 6? I'll tell you, because yeah, I love Enter Sandman, and I love all the hit songs that they have.
Nothing else matters.
Nothing else matters. The Unforgiven. Let me find the Black Album again.
It's a great album.
It's a great album.
Jimmy, when that album came out, you could not go 5 minutes without hearing it played somewhere. And it's being played today at hockey games, at football stadiums, basketball games.
All right, wait a second. We got Brody here. Hold on a second.
Sorry I'm late, guys. I was talking to my dad about something. Dude, here's something cool though. Speaking of the Black Album, in my spare time. On our show. By the way, you can't be late on
Brody's
our show.
alive and well.
I'm so sorry. But
you can't be late on our show.
Funny.
Brody's here.
There's a time. You understand? There's a time.
So that's got to mean 20 seconds.
Hey, I'll say this to compensate. Your list is pretty much identical to mine. So.
Okay. So first of all, Mustafa, can you hear Brody? Is there okay with the audio? What's going on? I just want to make sure there's some audio. Okay, so Brody, before we continue this top 10 list of Metallica, let's just get your opinion. Should the new Metallica make the?
Oh, hell no.
And why? Why, Brody?
Well, first of all, I believe strongly, and a lot of people make this argument all the time for any album that like lazily written, just slapped together, which, a lot of the times it's like, well, you can't really prove that. However, they've had 8 years, right? And I mean, I guess not writing an album throughout that whole time is one thing, but then they kind of they create this illusion that they spent a lot of time working on it when in reality they didn't. They started making it around like a year ago, I believe. And then they kept touring a lot, right? They're still touring a lot, which means they don't have that much time to write and record during these gaps that they're constantly touring, which means that they spent a while doing this, which they still released it fairly quickly because everyone's like, wow, it's already coming out in, was it November or October when they released that it was coming out around that time? Everyone was like, whoa, that's pretty fast because they were rushing through it. Every chance they got, they were just rushing through it. Sometimes that works, right? Like Led Zeppelin 2.
Yes.
But on this occasion, a lot of it's way too long. It seems like some songs they put no thought into, just threw it on there and hope to God that it worked. And James even admitted that there were some songs he wanted to cut down. Lars kept them way too long.
But okay,
some of them are just really bad.
But I mean, I don't know if you heard my argument. Maybe you're busy talking to your dad. But my argument was there's about 50 minutes of solid music on this new album. And if you
I'd agree.
An album like Ride the Lightning, it also has 50 minutes of solid music. So why is it not just as equal to it, or maybe even better in a way? Because even though there's a lot of bad tracks on the album, let's call it disc 2 for now.
Yeah. Well,
there's just as much equally. There's just as much great music.
Well, I would.
So what do you think about that?
I would agree with that, but it's also like when you get older, especially with bands like this, it becomes the creative mind is a little less fresh, and especially compared to the early days. Metallica in the early days with Cliff Burton was very, very creative, and I always took it for granted. But if you listen to the instrumentals and like the contributions he made, he kept trying to add like a very odd classical flair to everything. There's no doubt in my mind they'd be looked at as like one of the most creative bands ever if he was still with them.
Sure. Well, what about Kirk Hammett? What about Kirk Hammett? Okay, the guy had on his phone, he had something like 300.
Yeah, no one's talking about this story. I know the story you're talking about. Yeah, no one else is talking about this. So they lost songwriting with that. I could really tell. It seemed like
or Brody, you know what I think? What happened? He didn't really have any ideas, and they just fabricated that story. And they didn't want him to write on it. They go, no, you have your place there, and we're gonna Lars and us. We're gonna write the songs, and we're gonna just pretend you were gonna.
I thought they were past
but you
that.
weren't. I don't think they're past that. It's
a good point because he did lose his phone like the second he made that statement. I have a bunch of riffs on my phone. You know what I mean? That was kind of awkward. But then also, yeah, you could make that argument. Maybe he was writing terrible riffs, and they're like, okay, stay in your corner, Kirk. You suck. But he wrote some of the best riffs I ever had, like that one on on My Apocalypse. That shit's awesome.
You know what? And
he wrote some of the technical
on the show, who was the original guitarist of Anthrax. He was there back in the day when Dave Mustaine. I don't know if Greg's watching or not today, but he was. He told me when Dave Mustaine was in the band, he was there when Dave Mustaine was in the band, and he was there when Kirk came into the band. He goes, "Why on earth would they take this inferior guitarist?" And he's not a bad guitarist. Don't get me wrong. It's just he's inferior to Dave Mustaine.
Well, yeah, of course.
And I don't know. I mean, you're a guitarist, right? I mean, what do you think?
I think it's just that he gelled better with their personality, and the East Coast didn't have that best of a musical or like guitarist standpoint at that point. I mean, even Dave at that point wasn't that musical, but he kind of started to when he started making Megadeth songs, he decided not only to make things heavier and faster, but more different. He was like the most different of everyone, Yeah.
Two things there. If you read Dave's book and his version of events, Dave was the leader of the band, and we know that Lars and James wanted to be the leader of the band. In between talk on stage, whoever, Dave would be the front man on stage. And he probably overstepped his bounds on lots of occasions. Dave,
of course, yeah.
He was drinking heavily like they all were, and to get thrown out of that band at that time because you were more screwed up than the other guys is, calling the kettle black, I think. But again, Dave had a negative side and an aggressive, violent side when he got drinking at that time. And I think he would admit that now, looking back. And the other two they decided they were going to, they were wanting to be the leaders of the band, and bringing in Kirk, who's kind of a laid back guy, not aggressive, going to follow the flow, happy to be there, left Exodus, right, to be there. Yeah. That fit in much more with where they wanted to go. And James has become a very strong leader. Lars is Lars. I mean, Encyclopedia Britannica, everybody, but it's his band. So that's kind of where he fit in at that time. And I mean, you can't say that Kirk's a bad guitarist.
No, he's not. I just said he's inferior to Dave Mustaine. I don't think he's a bad guitarist. And it means Dave Mustaine's probably up here, right? And Kirk's over
Dave's
here.
proven himself.
And I'm not saying, and probably a bad guitarist is right here. So, I mean, he's a good guitarist. It's just he's not as good as Dave Mustaine. And maybe,
you mean contribution-wise? I mean, that's where this conversation started.
Dave Mustaine ruled these two albums. I mean, without Dave Mustaine, you would have never had this, right? Or that Furious. Not to say that Lars and James didn't contribute. I'm just saying.
And if it wasn't for Dave, no one would have thought outside the box when it came to thrash. Because let's be honest, a lot of the thrash in the early days was just kind of, that very punky, simplistic, kind of a little funny vibe, you know what I mean? But Dave was like, let's make everything really odd, put choruses at the end of songs, make it very odd time signatures, very fast all of a sudden, jazzy guitar solos. He was all over the place.
Yeah, and like you said, we can't underestimate the influence of Cliff Burton on that period.
Big time.
Some people have even gone to say that Metallica stopped when Cliff passed away.
And in a way, which goes to my list, and we'll get to it in a moment. But I have to say,
we're stuck at number 6. We're stalled at number 6.
Back at this album, I think, you know what it was? I put this album on. I go, this one, I love it. And I mean, the songs that are great on disc 1. Let me ask you this, Brody. Do you think Hardwired, Atlas, Moth into a Flame, and Now That We're Dead, do you think they're going to keep these songs in their set list for the next decade?
That's what it boils down to.
Well, I thought about that too. I think the ones that they're actually going to put in the set list, because nowadays they're playing more of the fast, catchy songs, because they are like they play stuff like Cyanide, which is a little bit slower, and then they'll also play what's that one song from Everyone Loved on Death Magnetic, the All Nightmare Long, those songs. Moth, they're going to play stuff like Spit on the Bone live all the time. They're going to play stuff like, I think Moth into Flame would probably make more of the set list. And I think Confusion
for a decade, not now, for a decade to come. I think
Moth into Flame and Spit on the Bone will make the set list, I think.
Oh, and again, what defines greatness? Hit the Lights. They've been playing it for forever, right? In their set list, they always put it. They always go back to it.
Well, that's not just greatness. That's also like nostalgia. Because Iron Maiden plays Iron Maiden all the time. That doesn't mean necessarily that it's a great song. It's just that that's their title song.
That's a good point too. That's a great point too. Because Iron Maiden is probably one of the worst songs they've ever written. And I keep hearing it in their set list from as a young kid to today. It's tradition, but it's like a boring song, right? But Hit the Lights. Look, when they talk about the No Life to Leather demo tape, those were the songs that just blew everyone's mind.
The Genesis.
Right? And Alan, to your point, I know you're talking to this right before we started. Kill 'Em All. How influential?
Are we going to get to that? You're stuck in number 6 here. Work your way up, man.
Okay, let's go back to the list. Okay, Brody, you ready? And by the way, I want to tell everybody.
Guys, we hit 32 viewers at one point. We're down to 30. Come on, guys. Get back up to 32 at least.
When it comes to your list, I'd actually probably put Death Magnetic above Black Album and Hardwired.
Oh my God.
Okay, so wait a second. Before we get there, actually, I just lost my train of thought. Okay,
sorry, number 5, man. Just get to number
this is what I wanted to say. All right. Everybody out there in internet land, if you want to join this conversation, it's very simple. All you got to do is this Google Hangouts. I could put the link here if anybody wants to call in. I'll put the link right here. All you got to do is open up your Gmail and click on that link, and you can go and talk to us, audio or video or both.
31 viewers.
31
down to 30.
You can actually input. Say what you want to say. Let me go to a comment before I go to my list.
Yeah, you got a list there.
Alex says, I think this is their best album since the Black Album. I agree with that, by the way.
I would agree with that.
Some songs are even their best since Master of Puppet. And you know what? I don't know, man. If it's going to be in their set list, I think it might actually be true. Okay, now we got ET66665. No, really always liked them, but until Hardwired, only that one. I don't understand.
You might have to go back a little. I
have to go back. All right. Okay, here we go. All right. So let's go back to the list here before I confuse everybody. The 32 viewers.
Going to number 5.
Here we go. There we go. All right, here we go. The Black Album. So going back, Brody, still there?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. You see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I had Saint Anger. I had Reload. I had The Load. The Death Magnetic.
Like a David Letterman top 10.
The Black Album. Here we go. Hardwired. That's where it comes in. That's where it comes in, Alan. That's where it sneaks right in there.
Well, that's what Brody said too. Brody agrees.
No. I said I'd put Death Magnetic above Hardwired in the Black Album, probably. Okay. I thought Death Magnetic was the only song I disliked was Suicide and Redemption, and the production sucked, but I think that was the only weakness.
What do you think about the production on the new album?
Oh, I think it's really good. It reminds me of the Black Album.
It's better. Actually, what I did is I played them side by side. I played them one after the other, and I got to tell you, man, the production on this is absolutely stellar. You can hear all the instruments. It's loud enough. There's a lot of down tuning there. You know that.
Who produced it? Who produced it?
Themselves,
I think actually, which was the guy behind Destroying Death Magnetic's production, which is really funny.
No, there you go. So Brody taught us something. Okay, so Hardwired. Let's go back to the list here. Anybody want to see the list? Here it comes.
Because the last attempt, what was the last? Did they produce Load and Reload?
Who?
Justice for All. That's when they learned not to produce.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, Alan. And Justice for All makes number 4.
I'd agree with that.
That was a double album too, wasn't it?
That was a double album, but
no, it was close to being a double album. I don't think it was long enough.
On vinyl, it was a double album.
Oh, right? Really? Okay.
You know, and what I can never, for the life of
Sorry, Brody. We remember when this was released on vinyl, and then it came out on CD.
Back in Mayday.
It's right there when CDs are just.
This is how old we are. We remember before this. Remember this when it was released, and I was going, "What on? Where the frick's the bass? What's going on here? Why would they? I would like to see
their first video, right? Remember?
Yeah. And by the way, Brody, this is what happened. So they released the first 3 albums, and then they come to Injustice, right? And they go.
They had Garage Days EP.
And back then, you had to come out with a video, and they refused. They will not make a video until one. Made a video,
and what a video!
And just exploded.
And now they made an album with nothing but videos.
Yeah,
there you go.
And it was and I want to talk about that too. That is probably one of the most strategic marketing ideas ever. A whole 12 hours, every 2 hours they release a video. So they're going to probably sell about 250,000 copies of this album just to make up for the costs of making all those videos.
They'll do it too.
They'll do it.
I think this album will sell.
Well, the videos seem pretty low budget, so they probably just pumped those out quickly anyways, especially like Hardwired, where they're just like, okay, we're going to jam in a basement and then just flash a light over and over.
But, you know, I got to tell you, I edit a lot of videos, a lot of music videos, and it takes time. You know, it takes time. There's got to be some sort of consistency.
Yeah.
There's some sort of, even though it looks low budget, like our show, there's a lot of work behind it.
There's a lot involved in this over here.
See, that's it. That's props, by the way, in the back. That's not real. That's all a green screen.
Okay, let's go.
No, it isn't. Actually, you can actually touch the green screen right here.
Yeah.
Right here. Touch it.
You're going to number 3. Are we doing number 3?
Oh, dude,
And Justice for All.
Justice for All. It's not just that it's noticeable that the bass isn't there, but it sounds like a damn swamp. Like it's so low end and just trebly. It's kind of hard to get through. Although I would say I think the songs are really strong, but it started to get to the point where they were writing songs to be long for no reason, like the title track, where it literally just starts repeating itself endlessly.
Yeah.
And the instrumental I do not like. I like the middle of it that Cliff wrote, but it's very droning. Otherwise, it's very good.
I was not a fan when it was released. There was one that was a great song. There's a few others, but I at that point I could not get into it anymore.
I love the song.
Compared to the 3 previous albums, I thought it was a real downer. So a real letdown for quality-wise. Yeah.
I think these are great songs. In my opinion, these are great songs, but just the production, it just turns me off every time I listen to it.
Yeah. I think production and pretentiousness and lack of bass.
It's very well said. Very well said.
So, I mean,
they thought...
Which goes to today, right? Jason, you're the new guy. Shut your mouth. We're not going to play. And it goes, Kirk, you're the new guy. Shut your mouth. We're not going to put your guitar solos. We're not going to let you contribute. These guys are control
for 30 years, you know.
Which goes to what I believe, that Metallica. We've got to keep in mind, this is a stadium act. Think of all the shows we've gone to, Alan. 100 people.
Grim Reaper.
50 people. 200
75 people.
I mean, they all had the same sort of head start. I wouldn't say head start, but they all came from the same place, right? And there's like 100 people. These guys are playing to like 100,000 people globally.
Because of the Black Album, Jim.
No, I don't know about that. Striper have sold, and I love Striper. They've sold millions, and they don't play stadiums, but they do.
The Black Album changed everything, Jim.
Yeah.
Alan, there's
remember, you could not go down the street.
Well, they were big before even the Black Album. You know,
you cannot change the radio stations without hearing a song from that album.
But look at Warrant, okay? Warrant sold like millions. Can they play in the front of 100 people now?
They don't have the Black Album. The Black Album was a changer for them. It changed everything. How many copies have been sold? Who knows? It's
20 million, maybe
more. Yeah.
But my point being,
that made me. But nobody that listened to Metallica
one
before
album is not going to get you in the stadiums. It's management that's going to get you in the stadiums. It's doing the right. Even with Lulu and Death Magnetic and Saint Anger, which they've been releasing garbage, they still manage to play stadiums.
Yeah.
And I can name so many more bands. Like I just take.
And they have metal in the name of their band, so it's that alone helps promote them. Like all this band is called metal, you know.
Well,
so what's happening there in cyber world? What are we up to? 34, 36 viewers real time.
Guys, we are rocking.
Broke a record.
All right.
Here's some interesting facts. I don't know if you guys knew about. I don't know if you guys knew this about Injustice for All, but did you know 2 facts? Or actually, yeah, I think 2 facts. First of all, Lars was the one behind lack of bass. Fleming Rasmussen said that Lars was adamant on this terrible drum sound that he kept pushing, and it eventually started clashing with his bass, the bass production sound or whatever, the bass mixing. So Lars just said, fuck it, just took the bass out and then said, now put my drum sound in. And then another interesting fact is, I got 2 more. Okay, 2 more. One of them, Lars admitted to cheating on a lot of the songs, like Dyer's Eve. He did it once, and then like the double bass part, he did it once. Like after playing it many, many, many times, he finally got it, and then just looped it throughout the rest of the song.
Well,
so he copy and pasted places.
Pro Tools and looping it, right? I mean, if you
same with I believe Fright Ends of Sanity. And then the last little thing is, did you know that they were planning on firing Lars? It was Cliff and James. We're going to get rid of Lars before Cliff died.
Yep, absolutely. Let's just take a couple of comments here, okay?
Okay, what do we got happening here?
We got Franco Gonzalez. Can we get to 40?
Can we get to 40? Let's at 39.
All right, let's get to 40.
Justice is the best album.
Franco, go around your house, get people logged in. Let's get to 41. All right, thanks for the comment.
We got Justice is the best album, and we are nuts. Okay, that's possible.
Wow.
Well, I used to think Justice was the best album. It's just that a lot of it's too long and too forced, and the production it doesn't completely kill, but the songwriting is still a little lackluster, and especially instrumental wise, it's not nearly as interesting when it comes like the instrumental.
Versus comment from Alan. Ready for the comment from Alan? From Hadi. I'm sorry for asking this, but why do you wear sunglasses under a roof? Because Alan's got sensitive eyes.
The lights are killing me.
Alan's got really sensitive eyes, and when we actually do our show, when we are actually videotaping, we got like a lot of bright lights coming at you. And I could show you what one of these lights look like.
Jim, it's not that important.
Yeah, it's important. These are the lights. So just so you know, we got like a whole massive studio. I got 2 of these. These are coming at us, and that's what it looks like.
Jim was gob. Lulu was much better than Hardwired. It's heavy. Clean and precise, says HI 1987.
So yes, Alan is blind. So we got to protect his eyes. So it's okay. And it looks cool too, right, Alan?
We got to
well, the funds. Okay. So here we go.
Dating yourself.
We're at 37.
Okay, where do we go? Number 4.
Right,
can we get to number 3? Can we get to the top 3? There's no surprise here. It's just the order you're going to put them in.
Here we go. You ready? Here we go. All right. So here we go.
Boom, boom, take a wild guess. Kill them all.
Dun, 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 dun. No. Master.
Wow,
Master.
Jim. This was voted the #1 metal album of all time.
That was Martin Popoff's list.
Martin Popoff.
That was Martin Popoff's list. This is my list. I put this at number 3. I love this album. And 3 is high. 3 is really high.
That's a great album. You know, Jim, and it came out as a carbon copy, the sequencing of the songs and everything with Ride the Lightning, the way they did it, but are the songs stronger? That's the question. You can put them at number 3. That's interesting. Very interesting.
Yep.
Number 3. This was at the time, this culminated with all their hard work, the previous albums. This was a mature album, the songwriting. But Ride the Lightning is a great album too. I struggled between these 2. I would have had to Kill 'Em All at number 3 because they were solo, they were immature. But compared to these 2 albums, I struggle. I flip that on a daily basis between Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets.
All right, so let's go to some comments here, Brody. You can react to this. Arvid, what is your guys' opinion on James' voice? You know what? As he said, and I know Neil Turbin's told me this, and in an interview I did like a long time ago, he said Neil and Johnny Z, they were in the studio recording Fistful of Metal, and they were looking for a singer, Metallica, because they were hanging around.
They're supposed to bring in John Bush from Armored Saint.
And Johnny Z, who I've spoken to, and he's confirmed with me that this is a true story, they were tossing around the idea of Neil Turbin singing for Metallica.
No, wasn't it the guy from Armored Saint, John Bush?
John Bush was asked officially.
Yeah.
Neil Turbin was sort of like, they were talking about it. They weren't at the official stage yet.
You have to understand, at that time, Armored Saint was more popular than Metallica. Metallica was relatively unknown.
That's right.
And Armored Saint already had the record contract. They're all buddies.
That's right.
So they were on a progression to the upwards, where Metallica was basically at the starting blocks at that point. So
now think about it. Neil Turbin, who's got a phenomenal voice, right? Metallica, James Hetfield, was more of a guitarist singer, right? He's just sort of like belting it out. They're looking for different options.
James was painfully shy too. He wasn't the James that everybody knows today.
Exactly.
And he was painfully shy at the beginning, and he did what he had to do. But the goal was always to bring in a singer.
That's
James got by. James did it because nobody else wanted to do it. And even, but look at him as a front man now.
So I know Neil watches the show, and we're good friends. And Neil is an incredible singer. He's a better singer today than he was back in the day also. He's just phenomenal.
Neil.
He was sort of, they were tossing around the idea. And Neil, keep in mind, Neil's recording his album. He's with Anthrax. They're making waves. They're doing well. They're just like Metallica, right? They're doing good.
Slightly behind.
So, of course, he's going to stick to his bros, right? He's going to stick to his friends. Unfortunately, it didn't work out.
That's why John Bush stayed with Armored Saint as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you're like a gang, right? And
that's why Lips never joined Motorhead.
That's right. That's right.
Same kind of thing.
So there's a story for you guys who don't know this, but actually it's on an episode of The Metal Voice about 2-3 years ago. I talked to Neil about this in depth. All right. So there we go. Master of Puppets. And let's read some comments here, okay? Blackened.
Damage Incorporated.
All right. Sandor, I mean, the kind makes them to grow on you. Murder One. Okay, so he's talking about the new album, right?
Justice is only good for one, and Harvester of Sorrow. I would agree with that. That's from Was Gob.
And Franco saying people might hate me.
Okay, and Black indeed admits afterwards. Okay.
All right, so Waz is saying Hardwired is definitely Death Magnetic Part 2. Franco saying people might hate me, but to me, Death Magnetic and Hardwired are way better than the Black album. And you know what? I would agree with half that statement. All right, so here we go. Master of Puppets. Any last comments on Master of Puppets?
Well, I'd like to say is that I'm going to take a wild guess. You put Ride the Lightning at the top, which I do as well.
Not saying nothing.
But just it's obviously above it. So you guys do prefer Ride the Lightning, but I agree with that.
We'll get to that.
They're both very similar, right? But here's the difference: is that
what was the first Metallica album that you heard
all the way through?
No, it was like the first album that you were exposed to by Metallica.
Well, it was a Black album, probably.
Okay. All right. And usually the first album that you've heard by a band is the one that you hold near and dear to your heart.
I try not to be like that because, I mean, what if Saint Anger was my favorite, you know? I mean, it's hilarious, but it's, like, not quality, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
But it does have an effect. I mean, all my top albums are the first ones that I heard from that band.
Yeah, because I think
more times than not.
So, Brody, when we were your age, this is when these bands were exploding. So it was an amazing time, the golden era of metal. And here we come. Here we go.
My number 2.
All right, here we go.
Come on, Jim, just do it.
Not the winner.
Well,
runner up,
the bride. Kind of let us know. There you go.
Ride the lightning. And here we go.
Much more mature album than the Kill 'Em All.
Death.
The lyrics are great. Nobody was singing about biblical verses and biblical stories. I mean,
the story of Moses.
It was great. It's a great album. I would put that. I think I would put. Some days I'd put that number 1, and some days I'd put Master of Puppets number 1.
So the story behind the Ride the Lightning, and this is how it went down. Kill 'Em All was released, then Ride the Lightning was released, of course. And they go, you have to make a video. And they go, we're not going to spend, and back then it was like $100K
Look at the album cover.
To make a video. They go, we'll use it for in-store promotions. We'll use it for, displays and stuff. We want to maintain a sort of underground kind of feel. Alan, where'd you?
This is this, Jim.
There
the vinyl. That's the vinyl.
That's it.
I mean, look at this. Fight fire with fire. Fight fire with fire. Ride the Lightning classic. For Whom the Bell Tolls, one of my all-time favorites. Fade to Black, Trapped Under Ice, Escape, Creeping Death, and The Call of Cthulhu, which is probably the weakest track. But hey, it's an instrumental. A lot of people love it. They love
Cthulhu's
it.
back on this album. That's all.
No, but that shows you how strong the rest of the album is.
I think Cthulhu was the best because it's the classically influenced piece. It was like these guys are much more than just heavy metal. These guys have a classical tinge.
Well said. Very true. Very true.
And he's a guitarist too, so Brody knows.
And that's why I said I'd put that at number 1 personally, Jim. But this is your list. Have fun with it. Now, Jim, can you please finally show us who's number 1? The suspense is killing me here.
All right, hold on a second.
Who's number 1?
Well, here we go. Let's get back to the PowerPoint.
We'll explain why. Well, Jim, it's not a big surprise, I don't think. But let's see. Let's see. Is there any surprises? You could put Lulu. Is it EP Garage Days Revisited? Is it the one with the orchestra? I think that's the one. It's the one with the orchestra.
The Metal Rights.
I disappeared the single.
Here we go.
And Jim,
you know what? I should have went back to it. So
there is an argument to be made here. A big argument to be made here.
And let's do this. And let's highlight it.
Jump in the fire.
Kill 'Em All.
Oh, wow. That's high tech.
Isn't that?
Why, you want to make it bigger too? You want to make it?
I can make it big. So let's do this. Let's do this.
This is modern technology. 28.
And we'll go to 36.
There you go.
Oh, shit. It's not even fitting.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we'll go back. That's fine. Kill
Jim.
'Em All. I even forgot the dash there.
We were talking before this show.
Yeah.
This was a game changer. I mean, this album made Iron Maiden sound like Liberace.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, nobody Nobody had come out with an album that sounded like this. This was unique. The cover, not one of my favorites, but it said it all. Yeah. You had the 4 pimply faced guys on the back cover. This was a game changer. When this came out, we didn't know what to do. Nobody knew what to do. This was something brand new. We were there when it first came out. You couldn't relate it to anything. This was a game changer. So that's why there's definitely an argument to be made that Kill 'Em All at #1 because it changed everything.
It changed everything. Thoughts on this, Brody?
I disagree a lot. I think I'd put it in the top 3 for sure because of the songwriting, but I think it's lacking the diversity of the next 2 albums. What definitely. I think about those 2 albums, though, is that I think they're both very similar as well because they're both, like I said, take the idea of Kill 'Em All, but add a lot of creative different ideas to just create this like album that's like musically great, not just heavy and exciting. But I think Ride the Lightning is a little bit better than Master because Master has like dead space in between songs sometimes where it's like, oh, this kind of sounds boring. Where Ride the Lightning, each song is like transitions to the next very, very well. Same with this album. This one has really, really good underrated songs. My favorite being No Remorse. That riff is killer.
Yeah. And you know what? Also, I got to say the lyrics.
I just want to add to what Brody said. We all agreed the mature albums are Ride the Lightning and, of course, Master of Puppets.
Yes.
But you don't understand that when this album came out, how it changed. And somebody else agrees with me here. Kill 'Em All changed everything. At that time, there was nothing that sounded like this. Even Iron Maiden says, where we sound tame compared to a lot of bands out there. Yeah. And Iron Maiden was the reference point. Iron Maiden was the biggest band in the land at that time. So when this came out in '83, this just you couldn't relate to anything. I can't, and that's why I think Jimmy put it. I don't want to speak for you, but I think that's why you put it #1. This was Genesis. This was where it all began.
This is Metallica at their peak, I would say, right?
I would agree.
This is sort of like they're getting there.
This is where we want to go. This is us now. This is what Metallica is about. And like you said, with the acoustic guitars.
Is the game changer, we'll call it. This is the game changer.
Yeah.
The first 3 songs I ever heard, I was probably 16 years old. It was on the Metal Files. Radio.
Friday night.
And it was brought to you by Rock on Stock.
11, of course, they were the record company.
And they played Hit the Lights, Metal Militia, and Seek and Destroy. So you had a little variety from everything.
Look out, breath! I live my life!
And I couldn't believe what I was listening to. Because keep in mind, back then, you didn't. Only Motorhead would compare, right?
Yeah. And Motorhead was all at cult status in North America at that point.
And the production, like you put on Exodus' first album, the production is horrible, but the production was good. It was a good production for the time because you could play today and say, you know what? It sounds pretty good. Actually, Ride the Lightning probably has a worse production than Kill 'Em All.
I do not agree with that.
I'm not sure about that, Jim.
There was something, they were on fire with this. They were on fire from the album cover to the look of the album.
It was nothing like it. It was unique. It's still to this day. You can put that album on, and we'll find out with Hardwired in 10 years. But this album you can put on and enjoy it just as much as the first time you heard it.
So there's a list, folks. Let's take some comments here. Alan, want to read some?
Dude, I was like 16 when St. Anger came out. Okay. I mean, those fans who think Metallica should get back to its roots, all right. I believe that those fans who say, for example, Lulu is the worst album ever, they listen to its songs in their privacy, enjoy the riffs and the genius lyrics. I don't think that's Jim's case. I prefer Metallica live. There you go. That's well said.
And you know what's amazing, too? Like, I just want to end off with this.
And Stephen Baker is logged on. Hello, Stephen Baker. What are we up to now? 46.
No, actually, we
48 viewers.
We peaked at 51.
Hey, woo! Do the wave. This is great. Woo!
All right, so here we go. And remember that story we had about the new wave of British heavy metal band Weapon? They had a song that started like Hit the Lights. Yeah. So we did a show on that where Weapon, a UK band in the new wave of British heavy metal, the beginning sounded like Hit the Lights, and they're telling us that Metallica lifted the intro from them. And if you listen to Weapon's old song, I can't remember what it was called, it does sound like Hit the Lights intro. And of course, Lars was influenced by the new wave of British heavy metal, and he listed Weapon as one of the bands that he was influenced in. And you know what I love about, then of course you have the Four Horsemen, which was I love the song, but it was, the Mechanics, right?
Right.
By Megadeth, which I never
But we didn't know that at the time.
We didn't know that.
We knew the Four Horsemen, who again sings about the apocalypse. Metallica was unique. The lyrical content, the guitars, the what do you call that, muting of the strings. Nobody was doing that.
Yeah,
the palm muting.
And Mechanics, I never liked the way he presented that song. It sucked. And actually, that was the original Metallica song. I never liked the lyrics.
Don't use my stuff. That's the last thing he said to them when he left the band or when he was fired. Don't use my stuff. And he wasn't meaning his guitar. He meant the stuff that he wrote. He was disappointed when he didn't get as much credit as he thinks he should have.
Yeah. Okay, so it goes back to, let's go back.
Kill 'Em All at number one is what you're saying, Joe.
I'm saying Kill 'Em All at number one. It was a game changer.
Interesting.
It was groundbreaking.
I can understand. I know where you're coming from.
All right, so let's
I don't
go
agree,
back.
but I see what
So
you
for all the people who came in late, here we go. Here's a nice little picture I made. So Metallica's new album, top 10 metal album of 2016. I say yes.
Really?
Sort of. I'm not there yet. I won't reveal it. I won't reveal it yet.
No, you have to tune in.
What do you say, Alan? What do you say, Alan? So far, I'm just leaning more to the yes. How's that?
It's a big year. Big year, Jim. Look, we couldn't even agree on. We agreed on one album, possibly two, to make the top 10 list. That's why we're doing two lists this year. It's going to be.
So here's the format.
First on the Metal Voice, two lists, two top 10 lists. That's how tough of a year it was. And now you want to squeeze this one in. Hey, well, time will tell. It might make it might not. I brought that up last week when we did the review. Will this make the top 10 list? Hey, you got to.
I'm kind of leaning on the yes. I know you're kind of leaning on the no, Brody. What are you leaning on? You already said no, but
no,
our discussion.
Look, it had the potential, right? The first half of the album, even the first song, the second half, I was like, I'm getting into this could be top 10 material, right? Even Dream No More, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, I was like, I'm willing to let it slide. Then we hit like ManUNkind, Am I Savage, and Murder One. I'm like, no. There's too many crappy songs on it, but like I said, there are great moments.
Music on this album to justify it.
Franco Gonzalez says, yes, it's a top 5. Metal Blonde says, don't forget Testament. He's voting for Testament at top 3 for sure. So there you go. Four Horsemen was Mustaine's riff. Yes, we know. We agree.
Yep.
So, number 1, we got the Decapitator says that Injustice for All should be number 1 on that list.
And the Corn Freak says Load and Reload was just shit. And you know what? I just recently listened to those albums. It's a tough listen. Not as tough as Lulu, which probably is the load of shit, right? But it's a tough listen.
Everybody, had a hard-on when Death Magnetic came out.
That's
right. And now nobody talks about that album. Yeah. Right? I mean...
Yeah, all right. So I think we're... just to tell you guys what's going on. So we have the top 10 metal albums of 2016.
Special guest Brody today. Let's not forget that. Thank you, Brody.
Brody, what's the name of your
review show? Thank you guys for having me on.
What's the name of your review show?
It is called Downfall with a capital D and F.
Okay, on YouTube?
Yes, it is a album reviewing channel. I just did a satirical, funny review of the new Metallica album. I put a lot of jokes in there. There's a lot of Metallica jokes, of course. It's mixed in with my actual opinions on the album, but if you want to review, have a good laugh, go ahead and watch it.
Hit the lights.
All right, so Downfall. Go check him out on YouTube.
Thank you, Brody.
Young Brody, it's nice to have, we're older guys. It's nice to have a younger voice on the show. Also, Justin Stockton, he does reviews for the Metal Voice. He does written reviews. You can check out his latest review on Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Also, in about a week and a half, we're going to do the top 10 metal albums of 2016.
Can't wait, Jim.
A two-parter.
The list is still changing. It's still changing.
It's changing.
It's too much.
Also coming up, Alan, we have a review on Herman Frank, his new album. We have a review on Herman Frank, and we have Udo's.
The Devil Rides Out.
Yes, and Udo's new album, we have a review on that too.
Udo.
And a lot of fun stuff.
Dirk Schneider.
All right, and who knows what else will...
Back to the Roots, right?
Yeah, Back to the Roots. So check that out. And in the meantime, everybody, thank you very much for watching The Metal Voice.
Well, we got up to 51 all-time record. Thank you, everybody. One last comment? Everybody got it?
No, just some last comments.
That old lady spooked me out. I don't know what old lady...
Some great songs there. I think Load and Reload are underrated.
I don't care about bass. You are nothing without tasty riffs, and James is riff god. Unfortunately, you didn't call Lombardo instead of Ulrich back in 1981.
We should have called Gene Hoglan because Lombardo was in Slayer. Slayer needed Lombardo, so you know.
All right, man. I think we had a great show. Thank you. Very entertaining. We'll do it again.
Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for breaking an all-time record here in the Metal Voice. And thanks for Brody for hanging out with us today.
All right, Brody.
Thank you guys for having me on.
All right, man.
Keep watching.
Goodbye.
See you.